We're live. And good morning. It is May 2nd. We are taking up page 27 related to the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Commission. Bill that probably could have been in the miscellaneous judiciary bill. That's okay.
Yeah, we've had a lot of those this year.
Indeed. All right. So we had a fair amount of discussion about it earlier, and I was waiting for a full committee to vote this out. Before we move forward on anything, does anyone have any last minute questions, comments, thoughts?
You and I have a lot of thoughts. I don't really change this.
Same.
I'm good.
Good. Very good. Okay. Well, in that case, I would entertain a motion to vote this out favorably.
So moved.
Any further discussion? Senator Mattis, if you could call the roll, please.
Senator Norris.
Yes.
Senator Vinovsky.
Yes.
Senator Ruth.
Yes.
Senator Matos. Yes. Senator Hashim.
Yes.
5-0.
Great. Would love the honor of reporting this.
It's not so
Easy.
I keep voting no on it like that.
Senator Hosey will report it. Only voted no on the ceiling and right to Farmville.
I haven't actually.
There's a fair balance.
Who's keep track?
Yeah.
We still have bills for me to vote no on. Oh, no, raise the age too.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, we'll move on to something that's not nearly as easy, which is Act 148. And let's have some follow-up discussion based on the
Salt.
No.
yeah, which based on the lengthy joint hearing that we had yesterday, the hearing that we had before that in this committee, and what our thoughts are now at this point. Who'd like to start?
I'll start. I think the intention was good on the bill, very forthcoming, but after listening to testimony, both in here on the day before today and yesterday, I don't feel that it's necessary to proceed with this particular bill. I think that fair and impartial policing policy, although not perfect, covers a lot of things, and they review it every 2 years. And I think if we have concerns, those can be addressed in their review. Why yearly basis? I know some folks may feel strong about it, but I'm just, as it sits right now, I couldn't support the bill. So that's my thought. I know animosity to the bill, but I just can't support it.
I think the bill needs some work. I don't think it actually quite does what I intended it to do after hearing more testimony. So I am happy to connect with them to, some of the things that came up for me is a little bit more fine tuning and tailoring the language while also actually moving beyond law enforcement. I think what came up for me is that we do have a fair and impartial policing policy, and while not perfect, for the most part, it seems to be working, but that doesn't cover actually all cases that seem like we just want them to be covered by. So I think that the bill needs some work. But I do still think that it is, that there's some imperfections to be offered in that process.
Anyone else?
I agree with everything that's been said. I think the language here is at once extremely broad, in that it covers any provision of information for expending of any amount of time, money, etc. But then in another sense, it's narrowly just is law enforcement. So I agree. I think it needs more work, but I think this is a topic that's not going away, and we're gonna have to keep trying to come at it from different angles.
Any thoughts on Meadows or?
Yeah, I agree. What's that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the same mindset. We have a fair and impartial policing policy that, as has been said, while not perfect, I think it addresses this, the extent possible. I do think there's certainly room for working on it, and I think I raised this point in the first hearing that, we have a tendency to jump straight to law enforcement. They tend to be under a higher level of scrutiny compared to DCF, DOC, other agencies that may have sensitive information that could potentially involve immigration issues. So I think it's, there's a lot of work to be done on this. But as was just mentioned, it's a necessary conversation that I'm glad we had. It's also one that's not going to. So, yeah, those are my thoughts.
The only other thing I would throw in is morning committees will shut down in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to marshal our time.
Indeed.
So, I think in that way, it was good to have the discussion, but I'm not sure how much other, bills, how many other bills you have laid out for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
For the house.
Yeah.
That may be sending our way.
Yeah, we've got several House bills that we'll be voting out. I anticipate 2 conference committees, and we'll also be getting back our bills from the House that we have to review. So,
I certainly appreciate that, and I think that this is a pretty pressing matter that we should do what we can to work on quickly.
Mhm. And related, S44, is that moving at all?
that is, I believe, it's supposed to be getting voted out today.
Okay.
So we'll see. But I think that is an important piece, in my opinion.
S45 anticipates that the whole big conference very department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know where that is? Or
It might be in,
the still in ag or?
yeah, I'm not positive. Actually, I did have a question for you regarding conference committees. There was a question as to whether or not Senator Ingalls could be on the conference committee for the right to farm bill. I mean, we had sole jurisdiction of it, though it didn't apply by.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I think the committee on committee often tries to represent if there's some kind of dual jurisdiction. More than, because we have a team where so you can have one from the ag, we're vice versa.
Yeah. I think there'll also be a conference committee on SNL. They took out some of the steps required for law enforcement to access sealed records. Essentially making it easier to access sealed records.
Contacting the judge.
Yeah, so rather than not contacting the judge, I think they just have access. So,
Well, that's where this concept has died every time.
Exactly. So,
that would do that. Generally speaking, I mean, we got plenty of time for the next thing. Next thing is at 11:15.
Oh,
So,
Does the Attorney General have to be here for that or?
he was planning to come
Oh,
by.
he was planning to come by.
Yeah.
That's confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to talk to you briefly.
Yeah, where we.
Yes, we make.